Honey Hill Arts has been sewing for about 30 years, and with the onset of COVID, we've accommodated a little bit in making masks. I've always enjoyed doing custom work, so our masks now are choice of fabric. We try to accommodate children with a smaller print. We have a variety of colors to choose from. These mainly are used as an exterior mask color. Then we also have a variety of solids to choose from. These are also used a lot of times on the back of the mask. Today, our order is for 5 masks. So what we do, we have our order form, we have our system of how we understand what pattern they want. This is something I simply did just to establish an easy color code. So once we have that particular order was of these fabrics. So these are all exterior 2 male and 2 female choices of fabric. Once that has been cut out with the patterns, we then also have to cut out an exterior fabric and an interior fabric, and then also the middle layer of the fabric, so that we are creating the 3 layers. One of the other things that Honey Hill Arts does is with this fabric, it makes a very strong tie that will not break. And as I'll show you later on how I accommodate this in the mask so that it has a looping effect around the face and it holds the mask very securely in place. So now we have the next step, and these are the head ties. Clear ruler is fantastic for sewing. We have it on our grid work, which is a cutless mat, and our rotary cutter, fantastic for accuracy. So we're cutting them about 1.25 inches, and with this particular pattern you can really follow the design for a nice straight cut. A lot of pressure of the blade over to accommodate. Pull away. We don't get it all immediately because of our nice ruler. That's beautiful. Safety, hide your blade. And it was one continuous strip of fabric. So this will accommodate one mask, and I'll show you the folding process next. Okay, the next step is the ties. This is for the men's, and we're going to be using a binding tool. This is a number 18, and to help get the fabric started in there, cut a little bit of an angle in there, and then you slip it in there like this. A lot of times if the fabric doesn't want to gum through, it has a provision here where you can just take your needle and go through there. Okay. Heat guards for your fingers on the steam, highly recommended. And we just let the iron and the steam do the work, and you gently keep pulling on your tie. Bring it up, a little more space, and just keep this process up until you've completed your lengths of tie. Okay, finish this and I'll be back. After you've completed steaming the whole length of the fabric tie, you have now 2 pieces that are pressed closed. We're going to fold this one more time and slip it underneath here. It helps to have a seam ripper, and as we set the needle down, we want it to run pretty much so right against this edge here. So back and forth once, and then it's just long snakes. If it's helpful to you, the sewing machine has a lot of guides here and on here, so just kind of eyeball it on this and just let it run. The next step, which is very important, is ironing. So all the pieces have to be very well ironed. So good steaming. And each of these is doubled. Next, we need to take our fabrics and we place them right sides together. Pin, and doing it in this direction, we're going to be sewing this seam, so we're going to sew it, pin it like this, and this goes for all of them. Now we're back to the machine. We've ironed the seams in a particular way. All of them go to one side, and then we take the exterior mask, and you'll see that they will go the opposite ways and they set right in that seam. So this is the interior one that will not be seen. So this seam goes on the opposite side. So they all lay in there quite nicely. So, and then we're going to pin this. Just going to pin. And then we match up all the other fabrics around the edges also. Same on this side. Match them all up. And down to this side. I usually do this one backwards. It just works better. Okay, now we're going to sew it. Make sure your thumb is holding that in place. And keep on to the edge of that seam as much as you can. Now you'll see that there's a little bit extra fabric here. We want to alleviate this bulk, so we just cut this out, throw it away, and you see there's this here, so you want to open that up, flip it open, and I always put the 2 layers on this one hand, and then my nose arch, the copper one, I'll show you in a second how I make that. I always put this on the layer with the 2 fabrics, gives a little more cushion to the nose. Hold it with your thumb and flip it over. And you can make sure it's setting in. You gotta work it around a little bit, but then you can feel underneath that the bulk of the fabric is covering that up and it won't disturb the nose. So you gotta get your nail in there and you feel where that is, and you just get that copper wire to hold itself in place. So it's a little more tricky to show you because I'll have to iron it. But when we get the ironing board, we get this over here and we're going to press this seam down and pin it. Press this seam down and pin it. I'll be back. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It's been pinned. There's the copper arch. And here. So now we're going to set it through. You have to be very careful when you get to this that you don't pop your needle. So you can see, there's where it is. And so when we're done, we'll arch this to suit the nose. The next step is to take the exterior fabric of the mask and fold this down, and we're going to iron this, turn it around the other way. You'll see you have your interior and your middle layer. Iron this also down both ways, and then we're going to take this layer and bring it up where they're both ironed to come together. Okay, when I finish this, I'll show you. The next step has been completed, and you'll note that the seams match here. Okay, put it on the machine now. It has a nice smooth look. Next, we're going to take these end pieces, fold it just that much here, and then we're going to fold it that much more, and sew this seam here. But we're going to press it first so that we can get a nice smooth thing. Okay, I'll be back. This step has been done. You can see we're going to have a tube for our tie to run through on this. So a couple good stitches and one more step is done. A little cleanup on the stitches, on the threads, and this mask is essentially done, but a couple more steps. So in completion, I do a iron-on label on the inside with my logo and what size the mask accommodates. Threading the looping tie is simple. A safety pin. Start on the top, shimmy it through, go through that, take that and go through here, and there it goes. So very simple. Okay, so we get that through, undo, tie a knot to keep it from falling out every time you wash the mask. It's been done on the same side already. And there is your completed mask. And bend the wire according to your nose arch. Thanks.